Hello everyone, back tuning into today's second video. We've already done the Winter 14-15 Roundup update video. I released that here on the homepage this morning. This is the CFS 6 months look ahead for this Sunday afternoon. So we're going to get all of the charts together from the CFS V2 model going out for the next 6 months and see what they're showing. Now this is just for fun, it's just for amusement purposes. Please don't get the idea that this is in any way reliable. We're looking at one model in isolation and running it out to 6 months. Well, it's very experimental, really pushing the envelope, and I have to say it's not to be relied upon. So it's for fun, it's for amusement, the charts are there, we might as well use them, but as I always say, please don't get the idea that this is in any way reliable, particularly when you're getting out towards 4, 5, 6 months away. This takes us up to May, so we'll be going through the winter and the spring, can you believe, with this update. Now, before I get on with that, I just want to talk about the ads. There's a video ad sitting just above the video here on my homepage. Hit play on video ad, that's all you have to do, hit play, see what the ad is about. You can head to sportgaswebs.com by doing that. Also to say about the links to articles. There are links to articles sitting underneath. It's just underneath this morning's video, actually. So have a browse through the widget, and if there's anything that you're interested in, click through. You'll be able to go off and read those articles when you finish at gavsweathers.com, of course, and you'll be able to support Gavs Weathers by doing that as well. Gav Shop is open, so if you've got any Christmas shopping to do at Amazon between now and Christmas, please do go to Gav Shop and then click through the Amazon banners. That's the key to getting that to work. Click through the Amazon banners, go to Amazon and do your Christmas shopping as normal. You don't need to do anything else once you click through, but because you've clicked through from Gavs Weathers to Amazon, it means that we get a royalty fee on the things that you're purchasing. So everyone's a winner with that one. And thanks very much for getting involved. These things are helping to pay for the website. They're helping for me to sit here and talk to you via the website. So yeah, thanks for doing that, and thanks for supporting gavsweathers.com. So we're going to start off with the 700 millibar height anomaly charts for the next 6 months. Then we'll have a look at the corresponding temperature charts for those height anomalies, and then we'll have a look at the corresponding precipitation charts as well. It's a bit complicated, but it'll become clear as we go along. So we're going to start off with December. This is the 700, I should say, 700 millibar height anomaly chart from the CFS V2 model for December, and it's the same as a normal height anomaly chart. We've got blue extrapolating to low pressure, orange and red, or orange, yellow, orange, red, I should say, extrapolating to low pressure. So what we've got for December is a deep trough of low pressure out in the Atlantic, running into the British Isles. We've got these ridges through the central part of the Atlantic into the Azores and on into the central part of the Mediterranean as well. The jet stream is a strong jet stream running across the something like that. So it's an unsettled month there, being signalled by the CFS V2. Will be wetter than average, could also be stormier than average, but it's generally mild because the flow is off the Atlantic. Although I think the jet stream is almost tracking just to the south of the country, or certainly through the country, so it wouldn't be desperately warm. It's not going to be exceptionally mild on that sort of anomaly. You'd want the trough to be further north to push in those really mild southwesterly winds. Yeah, it could be cool at times, really, but overall it's a fairly mild-ish and very unsettled signal for December. Now, a complete switch around as we go through into January, and do you remember, if you was watching JMA Friday, on Friday, we were saying that the Japanese model is indicating a flip to be occurring through the winter. It's going for a very westerly and mild pattern for December. It continues it to some degree into January, and then it goes for a huge flip around to lots of Arctic and northern blocking in February, which would deliver us a colder than average month. Well, the CFS V2 looks as though it's seeing something of a flip at the moment, and it's having it in January. We've got these yellow colours and orange colours up here over Greenland. That is above average heights. It's high pressure stretching out through Greenland, through the northern latches. We've got this trough of low pressure more or less over the country and extending into the east. It's almost a very cold scenario, this. The air is coming down into that trough, something like that. There's one complicating factor which we need to see, we need to get rid of, we need to see it go before we will be in a definitively cold pattern, and and that, if you can work it out what it is, it's this area of yellow just here, sitting around Spain and into the northwest of Africa. That's an area of high pressure. That just complicates the situation ever so slightly. If that was to go, then we really would be able to open the floodgates into that cold northerly flow, something like that. What's probably going to happen is that these two ridges will get together. This is my sort of speculation, but I would speculate these two ridges will probably get together in the end, block off the Atlantic, and will stick the trough in there, or possibly to the east, and bring down cold northerly winds. That's my guess of how that would be resolved on that sort of pattern, because the two high pressure systems, one over Greenland but one down close to Spain, are sort of fighting against one another. In the end, I think they would probably merge into one sort of large mid-Atlantic ridge. That's a very interesting pattern anyway, January. It's just a new emergence from the CFS V2. So only been sort of developing over the last week or so. So we'll see how it goes, see how it develops. But very interesting developments there. Now, as we move through into February, the 700 millibar heights are showing a big ridge in the central part of the Atlantic. So what's probably happened there is what I was just talking about, with the ridge from here merging with the ridge from here, and we've developed this area of high pressure in the central part of the Atlantic. What we've also got is this trough of low pressure to the north and to the northeast as well, and extends in towards Scandinavia. That could be cold at times, could be opening the floodgates to northwesterly, northerly sort of airflows, something like that. I don't think it's quite as cold as January could potentially be, but even so, the signals there are really quite interesting. We move through to March, and we've still got that ridge sitting in the central part of the Atlantic. It's perhaps a little bit further south, but it's still there through the central Atlantic. Still got the trough of low pressure just there. So again, we're probably bringing down cold air into that trough, something like that. We would want to see more in way of blocking over Greenland, of course, but sometimes you have to read between the lines with these bars. I think overall that's a pretty reasonable pattern, to be honest, for delivering at least some cold snaps. Maybe not universally cold. You want a lot more northern blocking for that to get a very cold month such as March 2013. But certainly cold snaps would be on offer with that type of scenario. We get through to April, and that trough, if anything, is deepening over the country, so that's a very unsettled looking signal for April. The high pressure is pushing back, I should say, in towards the eastern coast of the United States. We're beginning to stick high pressure back up through the central part of the Mediterranean. So I think winds are much more westerly with that, so probably a milder month, but it could be very unsettled with that trough of low pressure in that vicinity. And then finally we go through to May, and of course when we're getting out towards March, April, May, this really is in the realm just for fun, just for speculation. But the idea for May is that we've got this ridging down to the south through the western central part of the Med, and not a lot else going on actually, so near normal heights. Could be unsettled at times, but if this ridge got any more influential, it could actually bring some drier, warmer weather into the south. So let's have a look at how the temperature anomalies go with that. And this is the anomaly for December. Of course, very westerly December, so it's a milder than average month being signalled. This would lock us in, I would assume, to the warmest year on record for 2014. It's going for an anomaly of up to a degree above average once again. And I can't argue with it because it's a westerly month, trough of low pressure out to the west of the country. So, yeah, we're opening the Atlantic train through the country. I would suspect a milder than average month is likely with that. Now we get through to January. Remember, this is the month where we're starting to build the blocking over Greenland, and notice there's far less red and orange for January. In fact, we're even bringing in some colder than average temperatures for Scandinavia. For us, we're in near normal temperatures actually, but I think we'd have to monitor this over a few more runs of the CFS V2, because I would suspect this cold area up here over Scandinavia will probably expand out actually, and this warmer area through the central part of Europe will probably shrink and push down towards the southeast of Europe with time. So much of this could actually turn colder, I think, on that sort of 700 millibar height anomaly. Whether that cold air would ever get to the British Isles, I don't know, but certainly I think this could well be trending towards a colder scenario. So watch this space. I may update this in one of the week ahead using videos that I do during the week. Going into February, and remember for February we've got more of a ridge in the central part of the Atlantic. Basically we're looking at average temperatures again for most of West Europe, a little bit colder than average for northern parts of Scandinavia. Interestingly, a little bit warmer than average for Germany and into southern parts of Scandinavia. Not quite sure what that's all about, because with a ridge in the central part of the Atlantic, I would have assumed those areas, Scandinavia, Central Europe, would be at risk of getting northerly winds. For us anyway, it's near normal temperatures in February. We move through into March, average temperatures, and of course by the time getting through to these latter months we are increasingly losing the signal. The signal is weakening, but it's sort of average temperatures, and I think that is unlikely that the whole of Europe will be average in that way. I think there will probably be warmth down in the southeast and perhaps in the west, cooler than average on the 700 millibar height anomaly. Average again as we go through into April, the warmth is in the east of Europe, and then finally going through to May, again near normal, a little bit below average in the east. But what you're getting from this, I think you are getting the signal here that 2015 should be significantly different to 2014. We leave 2014 in December with a very warm month. After that, there's no real sign of that warmth extending through into the first months of 2015. So I would suspect that if we do get the warmest year on record for 2014, it's looking increasingly likely, we're probably going to see a significantly cooler year, certainly to start off with, in 2015. That doesn't necessarily mean it's a cold winter, of course, because we can be significantly under the temperatures that we had during winter 2013-2014 and still be coming out above average, because it's such an exceptionally mild winter. So it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be a cold winter, but I think the signal here, certainly going through to January, February, probably March as well, is a very significantly cooler type scenario than we've had through most of 2014. We'll have to watch how that one is developing. Moving through to precipitation forecast, and obviously it's going to be a wet month for December. We've got the jet stream running right way through the country. Trough of low pressure close to the west of British Isles. It's going to be wetter than average, as it is for most of France, most of Western Europe actually coming out wetter than average. Notice drier than average for Norway and for parts of Iceland as well. Could just be signalling the risk of some heights developing there. Now, as we move through into January, the wetter than average signal is fading and it's shifting southwards, so it's running through France into southern parts of Germany. So for January, I think we've got high pressure around here, of course, because sort of the above average heights around Iceland and Greenland. Also probably some sort of high pressure up here. And the jet stream, I think we're on the cold side of the jet for January, so it's running through something like that into Europe. So we are most definitely on the verge of opening the floodgates to cold air from the north and the northeast through the course of January. Moving through into February, a drier than average month is being signalled for February. A little bit surprised about that because the trough is still quite close. Remember, we're blocking off the Atlantic to some degree. Have got a ridge in the central part of the Atlantic, so that could be what's going on there essentially, although trough of low pressure is somewhere around here. We're blocking off the Atlantic, so we aren't bringing the Atlantic train through. It could be a drier, colder type scenario for February. February's quite an interesting one, quite a difficult one to work out what's going on. Notice how dry it is for Spain and Portugal as well, so that indicates some sort of ridge perhaps coming through there. Very difficult to say what's going on for February. I want to see more evidence really about February. It looks like a very odd sort of month on these charts. Going through into March, near normal rainfall, wetter than average for Spain, going into some parts of France, could be indicative of some sort of southerly tracking jet stream. Moving through into April, a wetter than average month for April. Remember, we've got that big trough of low pressure almost over top of the country, so yeah, it's wetter than average for British Isles and for most of France, Central Europe as well. Cool, wet April coming up if that one comes off. And then going through to May, finally, just for fun, it's mainly near normal, a little bit wetter than average in the north, but by the time we get through to May, it's so far out it's not worth worrying about. So, quite an interesting update, this one. I'm sure you was fearing the worst when you heard I was doing the CFS 6 months look ahead, if you like it cold. And it's not that bad, is it? There's nothing really cold showing up, to be honest, but you have to read between the lines with these models. And what I'm most interested in, although we've looked out to March, April, May, what I'm most interested in, what's happening from December to January, because it's a very, very different pattern being signalled there in January compared to February, and it's sort of indicative of what we was looking at from the Japanese model on Friday, but there's some sort of flip appears to be in the works for this winter. This is all helping me build up the picture, by the way, to the winter forecast. It does appear that with these models, with CFS, with Japanese, there's something brewing, there's something there churning away, but I'm trying to pin down some sort of flip that's occurring from December. Either it's December and January to February, the flip with Japanese, or it's December to January. But something's happening. Not quite sure what it is, but it's all very interesting. And we're just going to have to wait and see how it develops, really. I'll be doing the 8th and final Winter 14-15 update video on Gaz Weatherby's next Sunday. That'll be the final update. Then the week after that, the 30th of November, Sunday the 30th, it'll be the season model roundup. We'll look at the CFS, but we'll look at all the other season models with that. And then the day after that, on Monday the 1st of December, it's the final and official GazWeatherBits.com Winter 14-15 forecast. So it's all getting very, very exciting now. We're nearing end game, and let's see how things go. That's it for now. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.